Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we're talking about software because I'm asking the question, should software be required to have a security grade? I think you might know my answer already, but let's just dive into this. This is coming partially from CyberScoop. Now, the White House is contemplating the use of cybersecurity ratings and standards for US software. The concept of government labeling and grading in cybersecurity isn't exactly new either. So, for example, most recently, the Cybersecurity Solarium Commission last year recommended that Congress establish a national cybersecurity certification and labeling authority essentially for this purpose. Now, that Solarium proposal is for voluntary labeling only at the moment, which I think actually makes a lot of sense to kick this off. For example, if those software companies can prove their adherence to a stringent cybersecurity framework, then they get a differentiator when organizations are vetting new products. Hey, I have this stringent certification. I don't. Who do you think we're going to pick, especially if you've got a really good chief information security officer? Now, I think that makes sense then because the rest of the industry would follow suit, also wanting that certification when it becomes a standard, and over time, it would essentially be enforced. Now, this whole issue is coming to light or basically being put back into the forefront thanks to SolarWinds. I think we all remember that one. Most of the agencies that were compromised in the SolarWinds hack have been have completed the White House directed fixes and independent reviews to ensure that the attackers are out of their systems. Of course, we're talking about government agencies, and the remainder of those organizations or those agencies are on track to do so by the end of this month. So you've got like 2.5 weeks. So they should be wrapping this up at this point. Now, the Biden administration is expected to begin rolling out, quote, best of breed commercial technologies meant to modernize federal agencies. Obviously, this best in breed would be heavily vetted to make sure they are not very easily susceptible to compromise. They have good practices in place. The focus is on the 9 agencies compromised in the SolarWinds breach, according to White House officials. The administration has also held regular meetings on both SolarWinds and the Microsoft Exchange server attack, which obviously just came to light. President Biden himself was briefed this week on that Microsoft incident, and so the White House is keeping informed on cybersecurity issues, which obviously I'm a big fan of. Now, on top of that, the Emergency Cyber Unified Coordination Group convened last December, a couple of months ago, to respond to the SolarWinds incident, and they have for the first time invited private sector companies to participate in those meetings in response to this whole Microsoft Exchange server mess that we are talking about right now. And I think that both SolarWinds and this just evolving Microsoft Exchange situation really call for software grading on the cybersecurity scale or something similar. We are seeing a compliance ramp up in the US government right now, thanks to the new CMMC or Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, which is expected to evolve from a Department of Defense only compliance into other branches of government. Already, the Department of Homeland Security is starting to adopt it as a standard, so it's only a matter of time that we see this trickle down from the DoD, one of the largest, if not the largest department in the US government, to other federal agencies, and eventually really ramping up the security standards for other compliances that are based off of the core of what CMMC is based on, which is NIST 800, or the National Institute for Standards and Technology. This is coming. And so if you're looking at the big picture of what we are really talking about here, outside of SolarWinds or Microsoft or the security grading, is we are looking at supply chain assurance for the United States government holistically. That's exactly why the CMMC was spun up. The Department of Defense was sick of their contractors getting hacked, which means the US federal government is sick of their agencies getting hacked because they don't have good cybersecurity practices and standards. So this is on its way. So I think a software grading system could fall under the umbrella, or maybe an offshoot of the CMMC, maybe covered under the umbrella of DFARS. I'm not going to get into that. Those who know, and those who don't, please Google. But that is one of the big umbrellas here that we're talking about. But this is a good thing overall. As much as painful, I should say, as the rollout for CMMC, which started rolling out in 2020 was, at the end of the day, when we are looking 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 10 years down the road, having these more stringent standards make sure that we are being safe and secure, which means American citizens are safe and secure as well. I think the world needs to start really adopting these standards for things like this. And actually, I've got an article, kind of an offshoot of this, coming out next week, I believe on Monday, talking a little bit about this, the internet and the world and all of the governments and how we basically connect to this. So I think cybersecurity grading is a good thing, especially for software development, where we find an absolute ton of vulnerabilities. Thank you, SolarWinds, and now Microsoft Exchange and all of that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but this is coming. Don't make any mistakes. If you're not getting compliant, you're going to be missing the boat. You're going to be behind. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well, all of which probably need a cybersecurity grade. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.